with a boss.
Honorable Deputy President, let's now move to the next topic of our conversation this evening, and this will be on a matter of national security. You were recently in Elgeyo-Marakwet County, where you promised the people of Kerio Valley that you would do everything in your power to secure them. You've also been visiting other parts of this country, Marsabit, Baringo, Samburu, Laikipia, West Pokot. More than 300 people have died in the last 7 months alone in this country, killed by armed bandits. Livelihoods are lost. Children have not gone to school. Children have been killed. Kerio Valley residents have even petitioned the UN Secretary General, saying that their government has failed to provide them with security. In your manifesto, you say that security is a cornerstone of protecting people's livelihoods. Why has the government of Kenya, in which you've served as an assistant minister, as a minister, as a deputy president, been unable to secure the people of these counties?
I quite agree with the feeling of many Kenyans. In fact, it's yesterday. It's not even last week. It's yesterday. I was in Elgeyo-Marakwet, and one of the leaders there told us we have buried 114 people in that neighborhood. So it is indeed a live and serious matter. You have seen me in when we came into office in 2016. I called all the leaders from Baringo, Elgeyo-Marakwet, Pokot, Samburu, and we had a serious leaders meeting in my office in Karen. And because of that meeting, for about 3 years, we went round, we mobilized all the governors, and we provided National Police Reserve in all those areas. And the situation was under control. But when we came into the handshake arrangement, a false narrative, very unfortunate false narrative, was rolled out that, all these National Police Reservists in Elgeyo-Marakwet, in Baringo, in West Pokot, were actually a militia that William Ruto would use at some point. And all the National Police Reserve were withdrawn. A very reckless act. And with the withdrawal of the National Police Reserve, the situation went south. And that is why I was saying yesterday in Elgeyo-Marakwet that we will do whatever it takes. And today, there is a program to build security outposts. And I'm saying, whatever it takes, even if it means bringing the military and military installations to support the police in some of these areas. In fact, you just reminded me, yesterday I overflew a huge tract of land where 3 years ago I was standing there and it was all maize. Yesterday, they haven't planted there for the last 3 years because of insecurity. So insecurity is not only causing our children not to be in school, it is causing starvation, it is causing death. Yet, people want to treat it casually.
But Honorable
let me tell you, let me just allow me.
In the last 3 years, Mr. Deputy President, you have not spoken out about the issue in Kerio Valley. You have not said anything about the killings that have been taking place, like they told you, 150 people buried this year. You spoke about it only yesterday. Where have you been in the last 7
I have
months?
always been there. In fact, if you go and ask those people in those regions, I have always been present. We have buried many of those people with our own money. We've taken many of those people to hospital with our own money. I have deployed my personal resources to deal with that situation because I know it was a political a political agenda. You know, the withdrawal of the National Police Reserve was really an unfortunate act. But because it was intended to punish William Ruto, you know, never mind that many people lost their lives, is a real tragedy. But that is the nature of our politics in Kenya.
Honorable Ruto,
unfortunately.
Honorable Ruto, you're saying that was done to punish you?
What other explanation do you have? You go withdraw security personnel in the whole of that whole region, you know, you subject people to...
How would that punish you, Honorable Ruto?
Because I am the one who had led the whole, in fact, I am the one who had taken charge. In fact, I was there every 2 weeks in that region. I was there every 2 weeks. I am the one who mobilized the resources. I am the one who mobilized the security men, the identification of the National Police Service. And so it looked like it was about me. It was never about me.
Did you mobilize those resources on a personal basis or as Deputy President?
As Deputy President.
So why would your government punish the Deputy President?
You live in Kenya, my good friends.
And I am failing to understand it, sir.
And you know...
Are you telling the people of Kerio Valley that 150 of them have been buried this year alone just because a government is punishing the Deputy President?
Not just that. The Kimwarer and the Aror dams were cancelled intentionally to punish my supporters. That's it.
We will come to that, sir. You, as the Deputy President, consume intelligence reports. Tell us, over the last 30 years, what is it that has led to this continuous cycle of violence in Kerio Valley, in Baringo, in Samburu, in West Pokot, even going as far as Marsabit County? What causes this, and what will you do, knowing the intelligence that you have?
The biggest contributor to the situation we have in those regions is competition for resources, competition for water, competition for pasture, general matters of education, and precisely the reason why we had a plan on Radat Dam to provide the water for the whole of that belt. Aror, Kimwarer, Lowat. These are dams that my thinking was, if we provide water in these areas, we can sufficiently roll out irrigation. For your information, that whole Kerio belt where people are fighting, it is a granary. We have the best mangoes from that region. We have very good soya that can be grown in that region. The only impediment is water, access to water. And there are enough rivers to be tapped. My solution to the whole of that region is twofold. Let us provide water for livestock. Let us provide water for irrigation. And let us get schools developed, as well as making sure that we provide road infrastructure. That's why we rolled out the road from Parbelo, cutting across that region, to come out on the other side in a place called Marich Pass, through Tot, through Chesongoch, and now there was also the road that was supposed to connect Kapedo from the other side of Turkana coming to Nakuru. Opening up that area is the solution. Opening up that area in terms of infrastructure and opening up that area in terms of water infrastructure will provide the solution. Unfortunately, there are people who don't see it that way.
So you say that the Aror Kimorel Dam, you recently said that you are going to complete it should you be elected president.
Yes.
Why did it fail?
I will. Yes, I will. It didn't fail. it was made to fail. I mean, let me tell you.
As the Deputy President, sorry, sir, to just interject. As a Deputy President, and like I started by saying, you've been minister before, you've been an assistant minister, we are talking about violence that has been taking place for decades, not just in the term that you've been Deputy President. So this is not about you being punished now, unless you're telling us that for a long time, there are people that have been scheming to punish William Ruto by killing the people of Kerio Valley.
That's not what I'm saying. I am saying we had a solution. We had close to 5,000 National Police Reserve. In fact, we'd even moved a step forward to provide armored vehicles to make sure that we can follow whoever these criminals are, right? We had a plan. Unfortunately, that plan was frustrated. And you know, the plan was, let's provide a National Police Reserve. Then, let us construct the roads. Then, let's provide water infrastructure. And then, let's provide school infrastructure. That way, you ease out people from that situation where they are today to a new environment where they appreciate education, they have food to eat, their animals have water and pasture, and then you can develop that region. In fact, in my mind, that's where the future of Kenya is, because we have huge tracts of land in that region. And the fact that people have been fighting in that region forever doesn't mean that they should continue fighting. We should find a solution.
Honorable Ruto, let's go back to the issue of water, and you've mentioned the Kimwarer and Aurora dams. And you say that as well was cancelled to punish you?
That was cancelled for political reasons.
For political reasons. Well, some of the allegations that have been made by the DPP in court is that payments were made contrary to the law, they were not processed through the consolidated fund, that in fact, this was all done to ensure that there were kickbacks, that the government made advance payments, including 11 billion shillings in excess of unnecessary debt to, this is what they're saying, which prosecutors say were to go to, friends and co-conspirators of this scheme. If this is what you allege, are you alleging tonight, Honorable Ruto, that there is a big conspiracy between the DPP, between the courts, and also politically with respect to the Aurora and Kimwarer dams that are now in court?
For your information, Aurora and Kimwarer was signed at the same time with other government projects, signed by the same companies, funded by the same financiers, and they were signed not with me, witnessed by the President of Kenya. So these are not projects that were cooked at night or in some dark corner, right? How come that the only projects that did not go through is Aurora and Kimwarer? All the others went through. That's number one. Number two, today, the government of Kenya is in court because the contractor, with all those allegations that have been made, the contractor has gone to court to demand payment of another 12 billion shillings. I mean, that should concern everybody.
There are also suspects in court, Honorable Ruto.
Pardon?
There are also local suspects in court over the matter.
Forget about the court matter here. The contractors are in court in London, and the government of Kenya is already replying to the case in court, and they cannot afford to make it public because it's embarrassing. Why did the contractor not continue with the project? Because he was denied the land where to set up the dam, and that was an undertaking by the government of Kenya that we're giving you a contract, we're going to give you land, we're going to give you this infrastructure for you to carry out, for you to build the dam. And the reason given then was that, the dam was going to be in a forest. How many dams are in the forest? We have Yamo Dam in the forest. We have many other dams in the forest. So I think, we have to be honest with ourselves. And that's why I am looking forward to the day somebody will step forward and actually tell the country how will the government of Kenya lose 20 billion shillings that was supposed to build Aror and Kimwarer, and yet there is nothing on the ground. What was this? What was this sinister motive?
Do you believe money was lost?
I don't believe any money was lost. And even if money was lost, people should be taken to court.
But you said around 2019 that it was 7 billion shillings that was lost.
No,
not
I
the
didn't
21
say that.
that was being alleged by the DPP.
I didn't say that. Check my statement. I am very clear about what I said. I said 7 billion shillings was paid. Right? That's what I said. And for your information, I said that 7 billion shillings that was paid was actually insured. The reason we should be asking is, why hasn't the person, the company who insured that money, why haven't they been asked to pay? Because the company that insured that 7 billion is a well-connected company. That's why the demand letter has not been put to them.
So what you're alleging...
And you see, Kenyans will one day really marvel at what really happened in this Kimwarer and Aror Dam. You will be shocked.
Tell us what really happened, because what it sounds like is you're alleging the investigating authorities, the DPP, the courts. There are suspects in court at the time, including former Cabinet Secretary Rotich, who I believe was charged afresh a couple of months ago over this issue. If this is all politically instigated, are you then saying that all of these authorities, different arms of government, are conspiring against you, from investigators to the DPP to the courts, to punish you, Honorable Ruto?
Let me ask you, that matter has now been in court for 4 years. It has not moved an inch. It's been dancing. This person, today you're being charged, tomorrow, no, remove this person, the next day, remove this person, the next day, change the charges, because somebody is actually waiting for another government to come and carry the shit, unfortunately. And that's what's going to happen. That's why that case has never moved an inch. Mention after mention, after story after story. I mean, surely, how can we lose 7 billion? Another 12 billion that is going to be incurred by this government. And it's an act of political convenience.
You just said we didn't lose 7 billion.
No, I'm just saying eventually we will. I mean, if it is not sorted out. And that's why I'm saying when I come into office, I will make sure that the money is not lost. And I will make sure that the impediment imposed on this project, we will provide the land. The contractor will build the dam. And we will move ahead.
To conclude the matter of national security, I think we'll also touch on constitution implementation here. Over the last 9 years, Deputy President, you have been chairing the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council. The Constitution establishes, under Article 204, the Equalization Fund, which was meant to fast-track development in some of these marginalized areas, the ones we've been talking about, and many others, to help them with water, roads, health, education projects. Why has this fund never been operationalized?
Two things. My chairmanship of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council extends to a limit. The issue you have raised about equalization fund is actually in the ambit of the summit, which is chaired by somebody else, right? As chairman of the Intergovernmental Economic and Budget Council, in fact, governors listening to me today, they know that we did a perfect job, especially when it came to transfer of functions, a function that was supposed to take 3 years, we made sure that we worked day and night because we wanted to get devolution rooted and moving. We completed that exercise in a record 1 year instead of 3 years. We have since worked with county governments, and many of the governors will tell you that I have provided leadership as chair of the council on every matter, whether it was grants, whether it was matters to do with conditional grants, whether it was making sure that there is a balance between what goes to national government and what goes to county governments. The whole of that trajectory, whether the issues to do with settling matters with the former local government authorities, assets, liabilities, I have been working on that with many governors, and we have made tremendous progress, including the final one that we concluded the other day, where counties now, as entities, can borrow money. As entities, like Kipia County is the first that is going to have the leverage to borrow money. So I have a track record on what I have done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman of IBEC. Now let me ask the question to the Deputy President. Why has the Equalization Fund never been operationalized 12 years after the promulgation of the Constitution?
The Equalization Fund, window. As Deputy President I can answer, the Equalization Fund, halfway through, there was a big argument between who will implement this Equalization Fund, because it was under the national government. The counties argued that because there are 14 listed counties to benefit from this fund, why don't we give this money to the counties? Then there was a problem of trying to get the regulations on how this fund would work out. And it dragged on the contestation as to, and some projects were implemented, some water projects were implemented, some road projects were implemented. But the argument continues to be who should. At some point, the law was actually changed to include counties beyond the 14. And that became another big argument. And I accept that we should have done better on the Equalization Fund. And that is why I have made a commitment in our manifesto that that Equalization Fund, whatever the balance of the time that is left, we will make sure that we devolve it to counties. In my belief, the counties are better placed to run that fund